There is a common saying that we have all heard before: life is what you make it. But for every moment of joy and wonder and contentment that we experience throughout the duration of our time here in this life, there seems to be just as many moments of frustration, confusion, stress, depression, and anxiety, among many other obstacles. And for some, this theme tends to be a bit more prevalent. For some, it's a bit less, but what is it about being human that causes each and every one of us to face these inevitable obstacles at one point or another? It's as if we've been forced into accepting the terms and conditions to a contract that we never signed, and there's no getting out of it. So let's take a look at what this is all about and see if we can come up with some sort of a solution. Hello to all my wonderful viewers here on YouTube. Hope you're out there dreaming big during the last remaining weeks of 2020. By the way, you might be asking yourself why I have brown hair. Well, long story short, my girlfriend Sarah and I the other day were hanging out, and she says, "Ryan, let's dye your hair brown." And I said, "No." To which she responded with again, "Ryan, let's dye your hair brown." To which I said, "No," again. To which, third time's the charm, I guess she asks one more time, and I say, "You know what, if we're gonna go into lockdown again, I might as well go in with some change, so I guess I'm a brunette now." We'll see how long it lasts before I cut it all off. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. So what is this human condition, or human conditions, that have us constantly questioning our existence and constantly thirsting for more than what we already have? Questions like, who am I? And what is the meaning of life? Surrounded by these feelings of being separate from everything else, or alienated and desperate for comfort, security, and reassurance. Well, if this sounds familiar, then you have come to the right place. It's this kind of dead end that we are speaking of that initially brings a lot of people into pursuing a spiritual practice or quitting their job and moving somewhere far away to start a life that is as vastly different as possible. Now, we live in a material world, and as human beings, there's this constant and ever-growing pressure to keep up with it. We are at the mercy of society's rules, our career and our status, the expectations of others, and to top it all off, as innovation, technology evolves, the pressure's on to spend money on things that we don't have, time and time again. So if you look at it this way, life kind of seems like just one big giant cat and mouse chase. Or to put it more accurately, you are the mouse and life is the cheese on the end of the string that you will never catch. And so the question that we are all so desperate to get an answer to is there a way out of this all? Is there a way that we can actually find peace and contentment among all this chaos? And obviously, there are many routes that we can take in answering these loaded questions. It's easy to take a more nihilistic approach and simply say, nothing matters, we are all going to die in the end. And these things are true, but the thing about philosophy is that any statement that they claim is simply just another construct made by us humans. So the only truth and meaning that they hold is that which we are willing to give them. So to not make this video any more depressing than it needs to be, let's take a more workable and empowering approach. As mentioned earlier in the video, the human condition, it expresses itself in many different ways. For some, it's anxiety. For others, it is existential dread. And for the rest, it is at least an occasional discontentment and lack of fulfillment. And when we get to the bottom of all these, it's clear that our mind is the biggest culprit. So I began to start thinking about our role on this planet and how we function within our species. And if you look at any other species within the animal kingdom, you'll see that we are the only ones that spend a large portion of our lives worrying about things that don't actually threaten our lives. But we are also the only species, for the most part, that doesn't worry constantly about being eaten by something higher than us on the food chain. So when it comes down to it, most of us are relatively safe and out of harm's way. And now I do realize that that is an extremely privileged thing to say, as there are many places in the world that constantly face danger at every second of every day. But for someone like me living in the United States, the biggest worry that I have on my plate is losing my job and getting evicted, or contracting a deadly disease. So we can say for sure that we as human beings have come quite a long way in our evolution. I mean, the frontal lobe, it's like the strongest tool in existence. But there is one thing that we many times forget, and that is that we still have our limbic system to worry about. And for those that don't know what the limbic system is, in short, it's basically the part of the brain that is responsible for our responses to fear and danger. But unlike the highly evolved frontal lobe, the limbic system is one of the oldest and most primal parts of the brain that we share with animals still living in the wild. But since we are no longer living in the wild, where does this fear response go? I mean, it's got to go somewhere, right? And how else are we going to grow and evolve? And this is just a theory, but what if, since we no longer face the survival of the fittest like dangers that our ancestors did, our limbic system has to compensate by treating our average everyday stresses and existential trips as life or death situations. Now, if we start to look at our lives in this way, the human condition starts to make a lot more sense, doesn't it? So for example, what is the condition of, let's say, a deer? Don't get eaten, make babies, don't starve. Simple, right? And what's the condition of a mountain lion? Eat smaller animals, make babies, don't starve. Got it. But then you have the human condition, and it's a little more complicated now that we have the means to think critically and abstractly, to philosophize and ask questions like who, what, when, where, and why. And it's for this exact reason that we don't have a one-size-fits-all solution to overcoming this. But the biggest lessons that I have learned in my own attempts have come from listening to those who have found peace and fulfillment in their own lives. And what I've found to be the most common similarity is in those who have finally figured out a way to escape the never-ending chase and to see through the game of society and find true meaning. And so I personally believe that where this human condition meets the meaning of life, it's plain and simple. It's for us to live fully and experience life in all of its rawness, harshness, beauty, and wonder, and to create and to fulfill whatever purpose we are being called to. Now, is that the official meaning of life? It's hard to say, but that is the meaning that I've gathered for myself, and so far it's worked out pretty well. So will you dream big or lead a simple and quiet life? Either way, what I like to think is that if we can simply just get out of our own way and make it happen, then whichever life you choose, there will be joy, meaning, and fulfillment waiting for you. No, I am not here to offer up any sort of roadmap to your life, as I feel like I'm still in the beginning phases of figuring out how to map out my own. But I do hope that this video served you well, and that the next time this part in your brain turns on that makes you feel afraid or hopeless or meaningless, you remember that these are simply obstacles on your way to gaining strength, confidence, and purpose in whichever life path you choose. But wow, it just got extremely dark very quickly, and my only light in here is my ring light behind my camera, so I'm gonna leave you with that. Go edit this video, pop it up on YouTube for you guys. But if you're a newcomer and you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it in the future, then please click that subscribe button down below to show your support. Leave a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and I will see you guys very soon, before the new year, I promise. To all of you, I wish you a wonderful holiday season. And furthermore, I hope that you are all staying happy, healthy, and creative. I'll catch you guys soon. Much love to you all.